Maybe that's doing better now. Hold on. There we go. Right. That seems to be better, right? Great. That should have been something that we looked at before we went live, but it looks like we're all good now. Hold on. I'm just going to change one more thing. Is that still working? Beautiful. Right? Still going? Yeah. Awesome. First of all, apologies for the delay. My son was being a bit more troublesome to put down to sleep than I hoped, and then I fell asleep next to him, which meant I was 5 minutes late, and yeah, wasn't able to prepare as much as I'd have liked to. Hi to everyone who is in the chat already. I see B-Trams, my my favorite statistician, is in there already. I don't think I've got anything for you this week. Maybe there will. I don't know. Um, let's see. Um, yeah, a few things happened this week that were very interesting, if you ask me. Uh, in the nerdiest way possible, of course. Obviously, there's been rule updates for the well, not for the VRS, for the tournament operations requirements for the third-party events, for the tournament rules that ESL, Blast, GL, etc. are all bound to. And I think we're still expecting a ranking update. The noise cancelling is a bit too high. Hold on. Okay, one sec. Let's see. Right, I'm just removing the noise suppression for now, and we'll fix it when I have more time to actually test it next week. But this is now completely removed. Yeah, I don't know what you guys caught and what you guys didn't catch, but I'll go back through again. Yeah, tournament operations requirements for the third-party events. There was a few rule updates, and also, of course, the thing I got outed on, I guess, for raising the point of, with obviously not confirmed yet, but I'm 99% sure Team Liquid accepting the Asian invite for Blast Rivals in Monterrey, Mexico. I think it's at the end of April or start of May. I think that's a bit of a controversial topic, and we can go through what happened, why it happened, and not necessarily assign blame or tell everyone who's at fault, but we can at least figure out who could have made a different decision if they wanted to, or why certain parties couldn't make a different decision. I think that's an interesting one, without getting too accusatory or pointing the finger too much. So, well, I think we'll start with that one, just because I think it's interesting for me, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to try and do the thing where I go high quality audio. One second. Right, I've done that now, Andrew. Let's see if that works. Let me know. Right, let's jump right in. I think I can share my screen if I use, which is the button. Hold on. I got told which one it was last week, and then now I have forgotten. This one. Here we go. Hold on. And it's that one here. Right. That is the page I wanted. Cool. Let's make it a bit smaller. Can we make it? Oh god, no, not that one. Picture. That one looks better, right? My face is covered up, but who cares? So, this is the current rules for Valve-operated tournaments, both CS and the major. Both the major and the third-party events. Now you can see there's updates, tells you when they've been updated. So if we go into the current one, which I believe is this one here, that hasn't changed, has it? Okay, this is the current one. You can see. So just to be clear, the where is it? The type of event that Blast is running is a wildcard event. Now, these are the current rules, and there's a bit of an issue because if we go back quickly, you can see here there's lots of changes. This is the edit history for all of these documents. And if we go back, you can see that 2 weeks ago, this update here was a pretty significant update for me and for everyone trying to follow this. So what did they do? Well, they removed one part of one line, and that part was the following rules apply to all Counter-Strike 2 tournaments that conclude after December 31st, 2024. They changed that to be the following rules apply to all tournaments, just in general, because that day has now passed. But then they added this part, which is the version of the tournament operations requirements that apply to a tournament is the version that was current, and then the links to this page, as of the tournament additional information deadline. Now, that part is really significant. And the reason why is because in some cases, this is in the past. So if we go back into the main rules and we look at the uh, announcement and publication of tournament information, we'll scroll down here. The additional information for Tier 1 events, well, it's now no later than 10 months before the tournament main event, Tier 1. It used to be 12 months. That was updated, I think, last week or this week, actually, which was a pretty significant change. So what this means is that the version of the rules that apply to all Tier 1 events is from at least 12 months prior to when they're taking place, or now 10 months prior. So actually, all these rules, you can just ignore them. We can go back in, and what update was from 12 months prior to when all events had to be announced for 2025. Well, all events had to be announced and fully with all the additional information before, was it September last year, or certainly it was before December 31st. So if you keep scrolling, you'll come down and you'll find this one here, 5th of November. So this is actually the rulebook that is relevant. This update here, this update isn't relevant, but this version of the rulebook is the one that's relevant to Blast and their wildcard invites. So it's good to keep that in mind, that it's not a newer version, it's this version. And this also applies to the rest of 2025, and even in some cases into early 2026 as well. And this makes things very confusing, because Tier 1 events are going to be stuck on the old version of the rulebook, while Tier 2 events are going to continually update as they go along, because the deadline for them announcing their additional information is a lot earlier, or a lot later, should I say. It's a lot closer to the actual event, whereas Tier 1 events have to announce these things formally a year in advance, now 10 months. So, yeah, I think the part that's relevant here is, for every 3 completed Tier 1 events, licensee may operate 1 wildcard event. If a licensee defines a tournament as a wildcard event, the following rules should apply. So let's cover the first part. For every 3 events that they complete, well, Blast themselves have, what's the quickest way to do this without ruining it? Here we go, let's try this. Replace the screen sharing with this one here. This one here. So Blast Rivals may run 1 wildcard event after 2 Tier 1 events instead of 3. So they were allowed to run their wildcard event after just the Blast Bounty and the Blast Open, which is the one that's taking place that started today, whereas it should have been 3. So that's one part to get out of the way now. And then if we go back to the rulebook quickly, this might be the most boring thing in history, but we're making it work. Let's see. Oh god, this one here. Yeah, so this part you can sort of ignore. These are just relevant to the amount of invites and how many they can have. And then I think the part that's most relevant here is what a wildcard invite can be. So any tournaments in which 8 or more rosters... Okay, no, this part isn't relevant. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. So a roster should only be eligible for a wildcard invite if it fulfills one of the following requirements. It includes at least 3 players who are individually members of the top 8 roster on the VRS at any time during the preceding 12 months. At the time, we did not know if this meant regional VRS or just the global. It seems now it would include the regional VRS, because based on the teams who have been invited, it must have been that. or it has won any tier one event in the previous 12 months. So, what actually happened was when we go and check the rankings, so the rankings that are used to determine these invites were the 3rd of April, 3rd of March, which was for Asia, was these rankings. Now, you might think, hey, the Mongols are number one. Why were they not the team that was invited? So, because the Mongols are actually, if you look at the global ranking, are actually the 3rd ranked team right now, they got a global invite. So, the top 4 teams, which these 4 I've highlighted, were invited directly to the Blast Rivals event as the global invites. Now, for most of the time, this isn't a problem. Because the Mongols were already invited, Blast had the opportunity, or technically, Blast can invite any team that is top 8 in this ranking, and any team that's been top 8 in these rankings going back as many times as you can think of, um, because of the top 8 of any BRS rule. So we'll just get into the invitation one. Now they can pick Team Liquid here, and that's what they did. Now Team Liquid are on the Asian ranking, so they are eligible to be invited. No one is disputing that they are eligible to be invited. That is not a question. Even under the new rules, they would still be eligible to be invited as an Asian team. That is undisputable. They are eligible to be invited. There's nothing wrong with that. So what Blast did was they invited Liquid as an Asian representative, and then they did the same thing in North America. On the Americas invite, they went Pain, South American, Liquid, okay, they're in Asia, Furia, South America, Mibba, South America, Wildcard. And they invited Wildcard, to my knowledge. I cannot confirm or deny, I don't 100% know that, but my understanding is they've invited Wildcard, which, again, this might look like I'm complaining because we're the next team in line. I never expected to get a Wildcard invite. And just to clarify, Blast did not have to follow the ranking in order. That is not something they had to do. So they could have skipped Liquid in Asia. They could have also skipped Wildcard in North America. They could have done anything, basically. They could have picked any team that was eligible, which is any team that has been top 8 in the past 6 months or 12 months. So they picked Wildcard in North America and they picked Liquid in Asia. Now, I think this is mostly an issue over in Asia because we all know that Liquid is not an Asian team. Liquid themselves know that they are not an Asian team, and I don't believe that Liquid want to abuse, if that's the right word, that they are an Asian team. I think they built the best team they could without, I think they built the best team they could within the confines of the roster building that they felt like they had. I think it's quite clear they wanted to tend a bit more away from from the European roster they had, and that's what they did. And they built a good roster, and whatever, it happens to have 2 Asian considered players. I think many people would say that Oceania is not Asia and whatever, but they built the best roster they could. And to some extent, they were backed into a corner with the decision they had to make because they were essentially given no choice but to accept the invite, whether it was from Asia or North America, regardless. Because if they were to decline this invite, they probably would have lost out on, I'm gonna guess pretty comfortably, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would say anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000 they would probably have lost for declining this specific invite. And the reason why is because of first of all, I don't know exactly, I think it's slightly more than $81,000, but to attend Blast Rivals as part of their compensation package that they give to teams. I know that's been a big thing going on recently with all the prize money things. But Blast don't get involved in that prize money aspect. They just give money to the teams for being invited to their events and obviously accepting the invites to their events. So I think it's 81,000 for attending a Blast Rivals, which is the most significant amount of their ecosystem. It happens twice, once in the first season and once in the second season each year. So that's the number one thing they would instantly give up was $81,000. And the second part is that they would also any decline that they made on a invite to a Blast event this year, certainly within the first three events, would result in them being removed from the frequent flyer system, the frequent flyer program that Blast have, which is essentially it's a I guess it's a loyalty system, but it basically oh god what have I done? It basically just means that um, if you want to benefit the uh, from the frequent flyer program, you have to attend as many events as possible, and you cannot decline any events because if you decline an event, you lose access to the frequent flyer program essentially. Now, Liquid having already attended Blast Bounty, the first one, having already attended, they're currently attending the Blast Open, and they will obviously attend Blast Rivals. That will be three of the six events. They're basically guaranteed to attend the second Blast Bounty because it's the start of the season. It's 32 teams, so that'll be four of the six events, which is basically what you need to get on to get the first frequent flyer token from attending multiple events. Then, given their position, they're almost certainly or very likely to be invited or to qualify for the second Blast Open of the year. And likewise, the wildcard events working the way they are, and the fact that the Mongols are doing so well in Asia, and that Liquid are also eligible in North America, should they need to be. There's a very good chance that Liquid can attend all six events this year, which would give them, I think, four frequent flyer tokens. I did the math many months ago when I thought it was relevant to us, and I think the total amount of tokens that could possibly be assigned was 80, and the likelihood is that it's going to be a lot less than that. Um, there's a good chance that I think maybe like 50 tokens get assigned or something like that. And if you have uh, if you have four of those tokens, that would mean each token's worth about $40,000. So yeah, it can get pretty good pretty quickly in that regard, and obviously they would also get all the benefits from being invited to all the other events as well. So it's a very significant amount of money I think Liquid stand to lose if they were to decline that invite, both combined with the direct money they lose from the invitation, plus the amount they would lose from the frequent flyer program or being removed from the frequent flyer program. Um, I think the part where it's obviously egregious is that Liquid could easily have been invited in the North American slot, and then the Asian slot could have just gone to an Asian team. It could have gone to FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest having some travel issues around that time, they weren't expecting to get invited to it. Maybe I think they're in Melbourne and then they have to go to China like the week after. So I don't think going to Monterey in between makes any sense. But it could have, well, not Atox because they're under investigation by ESIC, but it could have gone to Rare Atom. I don't think it could have gone to Tyloo. I think the ranking update came too late for them. Obviously, they've had a good time at Pro League, but yeah, it could have gone to Rare Atom. The number one Chinese team on the ranking. Um, I think Blast should have invited a true Asian team. In my opinion, I think it's pretty disrespectful to the Asian region, despite the fact that they would clearly be inviting a team that is well, or they might end up with a team that is not as good as they hoped, or not as important as they hoped. I think that it's important that regional ties are respected, and I think if you're going to put a slot and call it the Asia slot, then I think you have to actually invite an Asian team. I think it's a real cop out to just invite a North American team that just happens to be eligible via a loophole. Which, ironically, eligible via a loophole is another interesting point, because if we go back, and I promise this is maybe going to get more interesting for everyone. If we go back to the rulebook, you'll remember that there's been some updates in the rulebooks, and one of the updates that they made I can't remember exactly which update it was. It might have been one of these ones. It was a very big update. Yeah, it was this one here. So this update here was very significant because it specified what happens if you split. Oh, no, it wasn't this one. Maybe I'm sure it was this one. No, I'm pretty sure it was this one that did it. Um, uh, there was. Here we go. Yeah, so it was this one here. So for every 2 America's VRS invitations. Now this doesn't say wildcard, which I think is one thing that's quite significant, but it kind of shows where Valve are trending towards in terms of what they want to achieve from the VRS. So they create a new system called VRS subdivision. I'm just going to go into the rules here because it'll be easier. Subdivision. Actually, I'll go to the current rules because it'll be easier this way. Subdivision. So here we go. VRS subdivision. For every 2 America's VRS invitations, because officially North America and South America are not separate regions; they are the same region. But finally, after over a year of lobbying, Valve have recognized that they are perhaps 2 different regions in some ways. Every 2 America's VRS invitations, the tournament operator may subdivide the VRS invitations into one North America and one South America invitation. If they choose to subdivide the VRS regions this way, the rosters must have a majority citizenship in the relevant subregion. I think this is a very interesting line because this obviously rules out Team Liquid as a North American team. Now, again, to clarify, this is a VRS invitation, not a wildcard invitation. So it doesn't directly apply to the wildcard invites. It's a very weird situation where it doesn't apply to the wildcard invites because it should just be for every 2 America's invitations that are split into North America and South America. I don't understand why it has to be our VRS. It should just be invitations, or just VRS and wildcard invitations. But it very clearly shows that Valve are thinking in a certain direction. Now, what this does, in essence, is it rules out both Team Liquid and Wildcard from the North American invites because neither of them currently, at least, field. So obviously, JKS is non North American. NAF is, Nerds is not, Twist is, Ultimate isn't. They have 2 of 5 that are North American citizenship. Same here for Wildcard. FaZe, Sonic, and Susp are not North American. So they would not be eligible for any North American invites next year. Likewise, neither would Liquid. So weirdly, because the Asia invite for Blast is Asia, Liquid is still eligible for that because that doesn't fall under the requirement for having 3 of 5 citizenship. Neither Liquid or Wildcard, in a hypothetical situation where wildcard invites are also required to meet the 3 of 5 threshold, neither of them would actually meet the North American threshold, which I think is just an interesting thing going forward. But again, doesn't apply to 2025, will apply going into 2026, but depending on what the rules are when we get there, who knows what the rules will be at that point. Sonic does not have Canadian citizenship. He has a Canadian visa to live there, but he does not have Canadian citizenship. No. I think he has a P1 visa for the USA still, and he has a Canadian residency visa of some description. I don't know the exact type. He moved there with his parents. I think one of his parents got a job in Canada. That's why they moved there. So, yeah, last week, you're very right. Last week, this will not be a VRS show. This is the end of the VRS part, as far as I'm concerned. Let me stop sharing. Is that my camera's gone? Camera's maybe back. What happened to my camera? My camera is off. Interesting. Has my camera been off the whole time? Hold on. My camera is very off. 1 second. Let's try and fix that for you. I'm not sure what's going on with everything today. Everything worked fine earlier. I literally did a test earlier and had no issues at all. And then I'm having some performance anxiety uh, now. Let's see. My camera usually comes on and it shows a picture of my son. If it does that, then we are looking good. Where's it going to come on though? Is it going to be this one? Oh no. One second. My camera's going through like three different. I think it's. I think it thinks it's being used by a different program, so it's not wanting to turn on. Hold on. I don't get it. It was working fine when I. Oh, everything's gone wrong. Oh, this is a disaster. I might have to do another one tomorrow just to make up for the lack of camera and the late start and everything has all gone horribly. Okay, hold on. I'm getting a camera link in my Elgato. Right, Elgato is working fine, so let's just go straight from the camera. Nothing. What is going on? Andrew, can you just confirm? Can I disconnect from this call for like 2 seconds and then come back to it? Will it stay live? Like if I just restart my browser quickly, because I think that's what's locking up my camera's working locally. It will stay live. Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to reload the browser. Okay. Right. Can you hear me? I'm back. No mic now, though. Ay, ay, ay. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me now? And you can see me. Goody. I don't know what the hell was going on there. It's like the webcam shut off and then the audio shut off and everything's been going terribly. Okay. What else has been happening in the world of Counter-Strike this week that I have forgotten or been very distracted by because of all the tech issues? Can anyone remind me if there's anything interesting that's happened this week? I think there's been a minor rule change, but I don't think. Actually, there's been a pretty significant rule change, right? But I don't think we need to go through that really. I think we're going to bore people to death. Let's uh, let's just jump in quickly. Remember to go to shop.col.gg. That's where you can buy nice t-shirts like this and support the team. And also, little shout out to our boys, Sixy and Nix, this week. I think it's on what day is it? The week it's currently Wednesday. I think they're doing it on Saturday, the 22nd, right? Saturday the 22nd at 6 p.m. Central. Saturday 22nd, 6 p.m. Central. Sixy and Nix live on Face It. They're going to stream their games, play with the audience for about 4 hours, and look at that! That's what the promo tab was for. There you go, game night. 60 and Nix, they're going to join the lobby, create some lobbies. You can play with favorite North American players who have qualified for PGL Bucharest, and I think they're going to play for 4 hours, double points. There's lots of cool prizes you can win. I think are we giving away a monitor? Is it a monitor that's on there this year? This month? Is it week or month? Month, I think, right? Did I? There's 60 in the chat. Did I hear that Complexity made PGL? Yes, I did, Danny, and I'm very proud of you guys. It was a long week of trawling through NACS, and we did it. So very excited to get you guys. Very excited to get you guys into Europe again. Nice little warm up before the qualifiers. We have to play the qualifiers. I suppose that's the thing. Next thing we can quickly cover is the plan for, I guess, the plan for the next few weeks. So, someone actually asked us about it recently. So we have elected to not play the PGL Astana qualifiers. The PGL Astana qualifiers, the closed qualifier is running from the 27th of March, I think, until the 1st of April. We elected not to play those because we believe there is another option that works for us better. So we are going to go and play. I'm just going to ruin everything by going picture in picture again. So this is the Astana qualifier here. So wildcard, obviously, we played them in the Bucharest qualifier. Energy and M80 are back from. Energy and M80 are back from Pro League. They had to miss out the qualifiers, which sucks for them for Bucharest, because obviously they're more than capable of playing Bucharest. They just weren't able to play the qualifier. Kind of the same situation that us and Wildcard had for the Dallas and the Blast qualifier. M80 are obviously currently at Blast, having won that qualifier, and Energy will be at IEM Dallas later this year, having won the Dallas qualifier. Wildcard and us were both at PGL Cluj-Napoca at the time, so we were unable to play those qualifiers. So I guess we kind of got our own back, except there was only one slot for PGL Bucharest. So yeah, for Astana, some pretty good teams from North America. I think the only real sort of North American based team that's missing is us, and that was a choice we made because we are going to go and play this event, the Yala Compass Closed Qualifier. So this is top 12 global VRS. Obviously not the top 12, but 12 global VRS teams. Yeah, that's true. If M18 make the playoffs at Blast Lisbon, they won't be back in time to play the Astana qualifier. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, if that happens, that sucks for them. But I think they'll be quite happy having made top 8 at this event. It's tough, and that's something I've raised. That's a big problem for North American teams right now. Is that you're almost punished for your success, because if you don't have a good enough result, you can then get more invites to the next events. And even now, like obviously the main event that everyone wants to get invited for is the major. And that's the next event. That's the next cutoff coming up right now in April is the major one. But if you don't, because there's almost a lag in the invites you can get, like there's almost nothing left in this season that they can get invited for, because Melbourne's already happening. If they miss out on Astana, they've already missed out on Astana invites. They won't get any Astana qualifiers if they make playoffs. They'll obviously make the major, which is huge, and that'll be great for them, especially I know they've been very very unfortunate or unhappy with not making the major the last 2 times, or at least the last 2 times. But they can't play Melbourne, they can't play Bucharest, they can't play Dallas. So the only real event that is left, right, is the major. So they almost win an event, they get 1 qualification out of it, and then that's kind of the end of it. Let's have a look. So yeah, they can't get invited to that, can't get invited to that, can't play the qualifiers to make playoffs, can't get invited to that. Will obviously make the major, which is huge. And then by the time the invites for some of these go around, they'll already have lost some of their points. So it's really hard, unless you can string together like For example, I think it was the February invites was like Blast, Bucharest, Melbourne, Dallas, which, side note, was actually ridiculous. Like Dallas should never have been on the February. I know they had to run qualifiers, but it should never have been on February. It was just way too early. But like these three events all coming off the same invite date, like unless you get one of those because you had like a good result somewhere, like you basically actually no, it was Pro League as well, right? So like unless you get one of those, then no, Pro League was earlier than that. It was these three, yeah, and Dallas. Like yeah, unless you get one of those, it's just so hard to actually progress as a North American team because you're constantly missing out on the qualifiers for the next event. But anyway, back to our plans. Yellow Compass closed qualifier. So this event is a bit of a risk. I'll be completely honest. It's a bit of a risk for us because we're missing out on playing Astana, but we're also banking. We're also betting on ourselves to make up the difference and for it to be worthwhile. So we're going to arrive in Europe on the 28th of March. Danny, I'm told they did, but they're still waiting for something else to come through first. I got an email from them actually like right before this went live. It says we will finalize the participation agreement this week, and then we will get you updated on the schedule and the rest. And that's what I asked them if they knew the full team list in the group. So we'll get something through hopefully this week is my hope, but our slot is at least confirmed. So back to this 12 teams. So if we go back and quickly just look at the run we had at the qualifier for Bucharest. Oh wow, enthralled on HLTV. This is nice. Cool. Let's just pop that up quickly. So this is the run we had for Bucharest. Danny, I'm very upset about this little L here. Kind of ruins the vibe of the all green. Yeah, so from beating these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, we got like at the time, obviously the ranking can change a lot. We got like something like 60 points. Now I think a lot of those points will have come from the head-to-head against Wildcard specifically, which basically we'll get the confirmed pretty quickly, but I'm pretty sure most of the points came from beating Wildcard specifically. Obviously, quite a lot of points might have come from Blue Jays as well because they recently won Philadelphia, so they've probably got some pretty decent value to be beaten as well. But the rest of the guys, unfortunately, this isn't a dig at anyone. They're not worth less. Sorry, they're not worthless. They are worth less than other teams. So, to be completely honest, what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve is pretty simple, and it's not a secret. There's a gap between these two teams. It's about 120 points right now. It's coming down every day. We are trying to gamble, essentially, that we can win 4 or 5 of these matches. The format is extremely good. It's five matches, so we get 5 opportunities to win matches. If we can win, say, 20, 30 points per match, which hopefully against like decent European opposition who have played lots of matches, who have built up their opponent network, who have built up their bounty, and plus the head-to-head on the direct elo. We're hoping that we can win enough matches here, and honestly, hoping that Wildcard lose a match, maybe 2 matches if we're very lucky, in the Astana qualifier at the same time, plus a bit of decay, and we are hoping that we can overtake them. And if we get into this 5th slot here, we get a direct invite to the major. It's pretty simple. That's the plan. And if it doesn't work out, then what we've done is we've gone to Europe and we've had a boot camp for about a week. Plus, we played obviously Bucharest. If we hadn't qualified for Bucharest, we probably wouldn't do this plan. But because we have to be in Europe for Bucharest anyway, and the arrival date for Bucharest is the 4th of April, which is the day after the day after this qualifier ends. So even if we had played the Astana qualifiers, we would have flown straight from the Astana qualifier and landed on the 3rd of April. So only a day before we would have had to land anyway. So we just felt that it was more beneficial to just arrive in Europe a few days early. So we're arriving on the 28th, which gives us like 5 days or something to practice, get like a last minute boot camp in, which helps prepare us for Yala Campus, PGL Bucharest, and then I think the earliest we can leave PGL Bucharest is the 11th of April, and the qualifier for the major starts on the 15th. So it's basically just a big European boot camp. We obviously play some matches in the middle of it, both at the Yala Campus Close qualifier and also at Bucharest. And we'll give everything we have for both of those events. If we manage to qualify for Yala Campus and we don't qualify for the major, unfortunately, we're going to have to drop out of Yala Campus. But if we do qualify for the major, then we actually can go and play the main event of Yala Campus because unfortunately we can't be in Qatar for the 15th for the 16th when our qualifier ends on the 15th, I think it is. No, our qualifier ends on the 17th. So to get to Qatar, we do arrive on the 19th, the earliest, unfortunately. So we can't play the main event, but we're hoping that we can earn enough points from the close qualifier. Yeah, as Danny says in the chat, one benefit is that this actually has $75,000 prize pool, which does it does give us a bit of extra benefit. I think you get $2,500 per match win. So the most amount we can win is 12,500. But yeah, hoping that a combination of the prize pool plus beating more high value teams, getting maybe 20 points per win, and obviously racking up hopefully 4 maybe 5 wins. Combination of that plus hoping that NRG or Wildcard or Nouns or Marsborn or Blue Jays or someone takes a win off Wildcard in the North American qualifiers and brings them down a few more points. And yeah, hoping that the combination of all those things will lead us to getting a major invite. But if we don't get the major invite, we'll have spent like a week and a half, nearly 2 weeks in Europe practicing, and we should be in good shape to qualify either way. So there is a method to the madness. I promise you, we're not crazy and just ignoring invites in North America to fly to Europe for no reason. But yeah, it's definitely risky because there's no guarantee that even if we do well in the Yellow, we could go 5-0 in the Yellow Compass qualifier and then still not be able to play Yellow Compass, which would be disappointing for everyone. But at least we would have given it everything and known that we couldn't have done anything more to try and achieve the goal of qualifying and playing at the major. So that's where we're at right now. And then after that, I guess everyone will have seen that we signed up for Fragadelphia. Yeah, that's happening. I think Fragadelphia has never been more in the spotlight than this week. So, or last week. Let's just jump over to the Fragadelphia website and we can just show that for everyone because it's a cool website. I like this. I've never been to Vegas, so I'm hoping I can justify going to Vegas. MBK Stack Mercenaires, they're now signed up. We've got M80, obviously, Blue Jays, who won the last one, Black as Red. We can go see Goose Breeder, who's a good friend, girlfriend of Elige, obviously a former player. Chill Guys, I think that's an interesting one. I know that a lot of people have accused them of cheating, I think it is, or not being 100% legitimate. So they'll be interesting to see if they. People are saying they might not show up, but I'm excited. I know that when we played them twice in the qualifier. I know that the guys said that they felt like they were one of the teams that played the best like actual CS. Whether that's enhanced or not, I don't know, but we'll see. Obviously Energy are there, NIP, who I guess started off the craze. Us. I think that's all the kind of main teams right now, but I'm sure we might see a few more. I know there's 29 teams not paid up right now. I don't know how many. I don't know how many the cap is. I think they told me it was somewhere between 30 and 40 teams total that could play. So yeah, hopefully there might be a few more sort of the big names. Um, Getting info. I don't know if Getting Info are planning to go. I know their roster's changed a fair bit now. I think they've got like Fang is now playing with them after leaving PA. I'm not sure, but I don't know if Getting Info are going. But obviously, they don't have. There's a lot of teams here apart from obviously NRG, NIP, MAT, Blue Jays. There's a lot of teams here that don't have. Obviously, FlyQuest do have support. There's a lot of teams here who don't have any support from any organization. So, fair play for a lot of these teams for signing up and spending their own money to attend. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Oh, Ghost Gaming, that's another female team, right? That's Emulate and those guys. Yeah. So we've signed up for Fragadelphia. It is possible that we get another invite for the same weekend for a European event. But my thoughts are that we will almost certainly go to Fragadelphia because right now, I guess we can go back into VRS again. Everything revolves around the VRS. Um, let's just go back to global right now. So you can see here, where are we? Oh god, I'm not used to having to scroll this far. Usually we were sort of here. I'm not used to having to scroll down to here to see us. That's disappointing. Um, so why does everyone want to play LAN events? This bit right here, LAN wins, LAN wins, and heard if you'll win frag 60 will shotgun a Diet Coke. I think he'll shotgun a Diet Coke if we don't win. That's just how he drinks them. Like honestly, I've never seen so much Diet Coke. I landed. I went to our boot camp, straight to our boot camp in Warsaw back in January. I came in while the guys were scrimming, so I sort of just said hi and in the background, and then sort of walked around. And I was like, oh, I'll just go in the fridge and grab myself a drink. There was literally, well, it's Coke Zero in Europe. But like there must have been, I think, 25 maybe like 1 liter bottles of Coke Zero just in the fridge. And I'm not saying that's all Danny's because everyone drinks it. Everyone drinks it. But there was a lot of Coke Zero in the fridge. That's all I'll say. Anyway, back to LAN wins. I'm going to bring this over here so I can actually look at it while seeing you guys. I'm going to put you guys over there. So, yeah, LAN wins. So, LAN wins column here. We've got one over Imperial Valkyries. Let's go. So that one is currently worth 1. This one's 0.59, 0.584. So these are all pretty good. These are pretty valuable. The problem is that some of these are from Pro League. Even our oldest Astralis one is now gone, like almost worth nothing. It's not completely gone from the. This is the age rating, so it's not completely gone. We just have 10 that are worth more, but these are from September last year, so they're beginning to become quite worthless. This is how much they're providing into the column, which is obviously very little amount. So we need to refresh some of these and get ourselves back into like a more kind of normal place. This is obviously from the RMR, these 3 here, and then we've got 2 at the major, and then 1 for Imperial. So this gives us 0.471. And I have no idea if the guy called Nick J007 from Discord, from the Liquipedia Discord, is in this chat. I hope he's not, because I stole this spreadsheet once, and I don't want to admit it, but I did. He knows I've been working on it, but I don't know if he knows I copied his spreadsheet to get this. But basically, I built a spreadsheet to predict how much a LAN match is worth based on the current rankings and things like that. And yeah, I'm not going to show you the spreadsheet because it's a mess right now and it's definitely not ready to be shown. But he certainly helped me with that, which was quite useful. At least providing me the inspiration of what I wanted to do. I think after that it was mostly me, but he provided the inspiration of how to get to where I wanted to go. So basically, LAN wins are worth a lot of points, and we need to get this higher. We also need to get our opponent network higher. This is what's really dragging us down right now. But every team is actually quite low. Like even if you go to like some of the higher teams, they're still only at 0.5. and this is Team Spirit, like Vitality, who've also been winning lots of matches, 0.5. Like nobody gets this super high, but LAN wins you can get very high. Like if we go back to when we were doing well back in Pro League, I guess is a pretty good time. So this is just after Pro League, I think. You can see here 1592, 0.985 LAN wins. Like this is providing us a lot of value to our ranking because we're beating good teams. FaZe, Mouse, Astralis, LAN wins against Virtus Pro, Total Fire, Ultimate Attacks. This is obviously Cologne. So between Cologne and Pro League, we had a lot of wins. This is this is Blast Group Stage where we had that weird that weird loss against Heroic with their coach, but we fixed it after that. And then had an incredibly painful loss against Spirit, which that would have been worth a lot of points for us. But anyway, you can see here, we were regularly winning on LAN, so we had no issues here. And obviously, the fact that these 3 wins are still part of our bottom 10 is kind of a problem, right? So, yeah, we need to get this back up higher, and this is the easiest way to do that is to play essentially the weakest LAN event you can find. For the top teams, it's very easy to go and play at PGL Bucharest or Blast Open or whatever they want to play, and they can earn lots of points. But teams who are struggling, it's definitely a problem. I think that the local events are worth so much, but we don't make the rules. That's just how it is. Essentially, we can turn every single one of these 0.067 into a 1. And if we add like 2 more 1s to this column, all of a sudden this is going to be somewhere up in like the 0.67, 0.77 kind of range. And then we will have a decent amount of points again, or at least a half decent amount of points again. And it'll be the quickest way for us to generate a lot of points without actually having to play incredibly hard opposition. Obviously, I don't want to disrespect anyone who is at Philadelphia. Like, we still have to go and play and beat them. And I think that, some of the teams we played in the qualifier, last week were very good. So it's not going to be easy, but, I'd like to think that if we go to an event with these teams, even though we've got 2-time major winner MBK over here, I'd like to think we can still go to this event and win, 3-4 matches. So in the playoffs, covered matches. So that's the plan. There is a possibility, as I said, that we could get invited to this event here. Okay, so Thugs Bunny 268. That question is not a super simple question because depending on who wins Frag will depend how many points they get, because not every team will win the same amount of points, depending on how many LAN wins they have, what other wins they have, etc. For a team like NIP, they could easily win anywhere upwards of like 200 something points. But who knows? CCT Global Finals 2025. This actually goes back to the wildcard and the VRS invitations I mentioned earlier. So invite date, the 24th of March, which is coming up in 5 days. The VRS publication date is the most recent available. So that goes back to the 3rd of March. Invites, 2 America's invites, 1 for SA, 1 for NA, both starting from rank 1. Well, if we go back and look at who the number 1 team from North America is, starting from rank 1, and again, going back to the rules from earlier, the number 1 North American team who has a 3 of 5 majority citizenship, removes Liquid, removes Wildcard. It should be us. It should be us. Someone is spamming me. What is going on? Sorry, someone just hit like 10 Discord messages at one time. Okay, no, it's nothing to worry about. Anyway, I'm expecting that we'll get an invite for the CCT Global Finals. Whether we do, whether my interpretation is correct, I don't see any other interpretation that makes sense. So logically, we get this. This is online in Europe. So yeah, hoping that we can hoping that we can potentially attend that as well. Depends on what happens at Bucharest and what happens to the major and everything else. But we've got options at least going into April, and I think May is mostly going to be sort of sitting around and waiting for the major. Obviously, we're not going to play Astana because well, we're not playing the qualifier, so we're not going to play Astana. And then the rest of May is like Dallas and those kind of events. So yeah, we're basically going to have a pretty busy April, and then sort of a month waiting for the Blast Major in Austin. Should we get invited or should we qualify for it? So it's going to be a busy few like 6 weeks, and then a bit of time off again, and then hopefully a busy few months, a busy month in June. But obviously, we can't guarantee any of these things beyond what we know. So now we have to go and actually win the games and prove that we deserve to be at these events. Um, yeah, that covers sort of what we're doing for the next few weeks. I've just realized it's 10 o'clock already, but I was late and I had tech issues, so I'm going to sit around for at least another 10 minutes or something. Happy to take any questions if there are any. Trying to get a bit more structured with this as we go along. This has been a bit of a shit show today, I'm afraid. Sorry about that, but I'm going to make sure we do better next time with a bit more prepared topics, and hopefully bring a guest in. I think is it next week? Yeah, so next week I'll definitely be home, but the week after that we will all be. No, the week after that is going to be the week of the Yala Compass qualifier, so we may not be able to do a guest from the team that week, but we will try and figure it out. I'm going to try and get one of the guys from the team on. I know Danny wants to. I know Danny wants to come on. He likes to talk, so he'll come on one day with us. Maybe we can do it from a land event. Maybe the week after that. Actually, the week after that, we might all be in Cluj together, right? Or sorry, not in Cluj, in Bucharest. Yeah, we'll be in Bucharest on the Wednesday night. So that one, I'm going to get one of the players. I'll take a setup with me to the hotel in Bucharest, and we'll do it from the hotel, and that'll be fun. Uh, so let's just take these in order. When Liquid skipped Cluj, the players were quick to say, hold on, the players were quick to say that it was not their decision, but the org. Can you give some insight into what decisions are typically left to the org, the GM, the coach, and the IGL/team? Yeah, I mean, like the first thing I should say is that all teams operate differently. So I can't speak for what other teams do and don't do. Um, Obviously, the ability to be able to make a decision also comes with the uh, how do you say, the uh, luxury of having a decision to make. In the position that we're in right now, we don't have many of those decisions because we have to sort of accept everything that we get given and accept everything we can. Um, a good example perhaps would have been sort of like last year when obviously we had the partner leagues and we were invited to all of those. We could then pick and choose whether we wanted to go to like an Elisa or a Yellow Compass and things like that. And um, I mean, a good example would be last year. We accepted the invite to go to Chengdu, and we got to a point where it was becoming a problem for us to be able to attend Chengdu and do everything else we wanted to do with all the visas we needed, the time we had to spend in Europe. The players raised awareness that they weren't comfortable with the amount of time that we were going to be spending on these things and the tight deadlines we had. And after that, we made a decision, sort of, I guess, as a team, but ultimately, it came down to me to make the decision to drop out of Chengdu. I think officially it was because we didn't have visas. Unofficially, it's because we were never going to be able to get the visas. Um, so yeah, we sort of made the decision that getting the visas was essentially impossible because of the time we were spending in Europe at Blast and Katowice, that we were never going to get back in time before we had to go to Pro League, I think it was, to get the visas to then go to Chengdu afterwards. Um, the I guess the deal we made was we would give the guys more time off around Chengdu, which ultimately I think we benefited a lot from because we then went to Pro League and had a top four on the Pro League. So definitely benefited from giving the guys that break, which we wouldn't have done had they not raised the issue. So it's not like they made the decision, but they raised the point, and you know, based on new information, essentially, we reassessed it and we decided not to do the initial plan. Um, but the I guess the flip side of that was I wanted to make sure that we had enough events going into the end of the year, so we accepted um, Dallas into Yala Compass into Jönköping, which typically you wouldn't do three events in Dallas, Middle East, back into Sweden. It's a lot of travel, and we definitely suffered with that a lot in Abu Dhabi at Yala Compass. In hindsight, you would never do that if you had the option to. But that was the deal: was that we wanted to make sure we can attend some events and build up some points because the end of June or the end of Jönköping was the invite date for Cologne, and we wanted to make sure we were definitely going to get an invite to Cologne. So that was my trade-off to make sure that we set ourselves up for a good second half of the season. In lieu of not attending Chengdu, which I can't say too much, but Chengdu, IEM events were obviously part of the Louvre agreement, so there were financial incentives to going to Chengdu for us, both from an organizational perspective and some player perspective. So we did give up on those incentives to make that sort of adjustment. I'd like to think we paid that back by having a top four in the Pro League, which ultimately within the Louvre agreement was probably more financially lucrative than going to Chengdu and maybe not performing so well. So I think it all evened out pretty well, and the players ultimately made a good decision, and we backed them up with that. If the players are coming to us with genuine concerns, we will always try and take those concerns seriously. But it's not always their decision. But at the same time, it's also not in our interest to do something that's going to put them in a bad place either. So I think it's something that is sort of in the middle, but ultimately either I have the final say or Jason, if he's feels very strongly on something, may interject as well. But I think there's a lot of trust between both the players and coaches when we had them. There was a lot of trust between the players and obviously TC, the coach, that we were all going to make the right decision together. And we were like, there's never anything where hopefully the players never feel like they can't bring something to me, and I never feel like I can't bring something to them and find a middle ground. I've always been very open with the players on the financial incentives to X, Y, and Z, and why we need to do this, and why the org feels that strong need to attend and do certain things, and at the same time, hopefully they feel the same way that they can say like, "Hey, we feel this is too much. Can we try and do something else?" So I think it's a middle ground for us, but obviously for other teams that can be different. So yeah. For Lossie, with regards to the Yalla Gamble, when other tier 2 teams do the same, especially the EU tier 2 teams, I don't care what the European teams do because they're not going to be on the same invite list to us. I hope the best European teams turn up because that's the way we're going to earn the most points by beating them. Obviously, if we don't win, then we can't earn points, but we also need to make sure we're earning enough points. So I kind of want the best tier 2 teams to turn up. In regards to the other tier 2 teams, I mean, Energy, Wildcard, and M80, who, if I just remind you, are the sort of 3 teams around us in the ranking. Where are we? Share screen, this one here. So this is the ranking. So obviously Wildcard, M80, not Imperial, Energy. So these are the sort of the teams vying for that number 5 slot. I mean, technically Imperial are Blast Open this week, and so M80. So they could also both get earned Latin points this week. I think M80 are playing the Mongols in the first game, so that's a tough draw for them. But I think they play Furia or Na'Vi in the second round. Win or lose, they play Furia or Na'Vi, but obviously the winner or loser, depending on what happens. But yeah, essentially these 3 are all signed up for the Astana qualifier. and the Astana qualifier ends on the 1st, which means the earliest they can fly is the 2nd, which means that the earliest they can arrive in Europe is the 3rd, and the qualifier for Yellow Compass starts on the 2nd. So these guys aren't playing Yellow Compass; they're playing the Astana qualifier. Obviously, they will all earn points from the Astana qualifier, but sort of as I mentioned, like the only way you can earn good points is essentially by these three teams playing each other, and Blue Jays also pretty valuable as well. So these teams playing each other is the only way they can earn significant points, and that can only happen in the sort of semifinals and final, and yeah, essentially hoping that Wildcard lose to one of these guys and lose like 20 points in the head-to-head matchup for the ELO adjustment, and then hoping that we do the business for ourselves and get ourselves the extra kind of 100 points, and we'll see where it goes. As I said, even if it's not really a gamble because we can't lose anything really from going to Yellow Compass. Like if we lose a match or two, like yeah, we might be like so this will be the seeding for the qualifier for the Blast qualifier, the major. So like MA2 would be the number one seed, we'd be two. So we'd have to play NRG. I mean, you know, if we don't do that, we have to play Blue Jays. Like I don't know who I'd rather play out of Energy and Blue Jays, but it doesn't change ultimately that much. So like even if we'd like drop down to third seed, if we went below Energy, or if you switch the 2 and 3 seeds over, they still play each other. So like unless we think we're gonna lose like 80 points to go below Blue Jays, like our seed isn't really going to change much. There's nothing impactful can happen from losing points, but winning points is way more valuable for us. So essentially, we can only really win from this situation by going above wildcard or potentially going above M80 and getting the easier number one seed. I don't think any seed is easy when you've got these teams and you've only got 3 slots. So you know it's pretty low risk, and with the boot camp, we have to be in Europe anyway. We'll be more prepared for Yala, more prepared for Bucharest, and more prepared for the qualifier if we have to play it. So to me, it's not really a gamble, but I called it a gamble because it's, you know, I'm trying to make it seem exciting. All right, next one. B-Trams. Do you see tournament exceptions to be granted in future years, or will Valve finally say rules are rules? I think Valve will say rules are rules at some point. I think they might make some exceptions for what I hope they make some exceptions for things like the ESEA or ESEA like grassroots ecosystems where it's really important to have those like league structures building up from grassroots towards like, you know, what is essentially ECL and then Pro League. I think those are really important. So I hope they either grant exceptions to or incorporate those into the rules. I think other than that, I think that there should be no more exceptions at that point. I think that people need to just accept the rules and build their tournaments within the framework. I think this year there's been a few transitionary allowances that have been made towards certain TOs that I don't think should have been made. I understand potentially why they were made, but I think they should have said rules are rules because I feel like the exceptions weren't given out proportionally fairly to all organizers. I feel like some organizers were given exceptions and others were told to bend to the rules. And I feel like that was a bit unfair. I think next year they should all just be like the rules are the rules. Obviously, some exceptions this year have been given towards the fact that the rules are ever changing, and that's completely fine. I think it's going to take a while to get these rules 100% correct, but I think after that, I think it needs to be the rules of the rules, and you have to deal with it. Next one from Bugs Bunny: how is the coach shortlist coming along, and when do you plan on implementing someone again? The coach shortlist is coming along very well. We've had one interview already, hoping to set up at least 3 more by the end of this week. Maybe even 4 more by the end of this week if I'm lucky and everyone has availability. Obviously, you have to work around other people's schedules as well, so it's not super easy. But the list is promising. I think with coaches, it's extremely hard to know what a coach brings to a team because from the outside you don't know what their input is. You don't know whether like they're like the one holding the team together with like friggin' glue and duct tape, or if they're like the tactical mastermind that is being held back by the IGL who doesn't want to implement the tactics, or you don't know if it's the IGL who's got all the brains and the coach is kind of just standing there and giving assistance. Like you don't know that much about coaches. We think we know a lot about Sonic and Blade and how these guys will operate, but the truth is, when you're outside of it, like you get tidbits here and there, and the players will say things here and there, but you don't actually know exactly what a coach does. So I think for us, and I think for JT especially, having never really worked with another coach other than TC, I think it's really important. So again, this is on the when do you plan on implementing someone again? I think the when is when we feel like we have the right person. And as soon as we feel like we have that person, we will go very quickly because we obviously want a coach in place. We want the added eyes and ears and input that person will bring. But we don't want to bring in someone who's going to have or feel like they're going to have input immediately, and then we suddenly realize it's the wrong person, and we've wasted like 3 or 4 weeks, and it's not working out. And we want to make sure that we have the right person before we go through with that. So we're interviewing everyone we feel like would make sense, and sort of going from there. Really, it's not an ultra priority in terms of signing someone before a deadline because we want to have them in Bucharest with us, for example. It's more about like, let's make sure we get the right person. And if they meet the deadline to be in Bucharest with us, that's fantastic. Otherwise, they'll be with us in the build up to the major or the qualifier and then to the major, and we'll deal with that as it comes. But I'm hoping, I'm hoping we won't have anyone. Well, we will have someone in place before Bucharest. But if not, I think then I'll just have to stand behind the team and be a cheerleader or something, or tell them to, I don't know, take a time out and just tell them to chill out or something. Like I haven't been I haven't been a coach ever, really. I know technically I have some coaching credits from Godsent in 2017, but the truth is I'm not really a coach, so I'd rather not do that. But if that's what it comes to, I will do it. But yeah, hoping to have someone in place, but we're not going to be rushed into meeting a deadline just to sign someone where we don't feel like it's the right person. So yeah, let's have a look. Lossie, okay, but your only wins are against tier 2 teams and NA teams at the Bucharest Open qualifier. You've been one tier 2 EU team, and that was Imperial Valkyries. Is this risk really worth it? Okay, I think I kind of covered that in the previous answer, but it's not really a risk because we have nothing to lose. I guess I will. I guess I will not take the bait, but like I would like to point out. I feel like this is fair to point out. The matches we played, they're not all land, but all matches 2020, 2025. Like the matches we played this year, Virtus Pro, who are, I don't know what rank they are right now, but they're pretty high. Virtus Pro, who are currently ranked 15th. Eternal Fire, who are ranked 6th. Liquid, who are ranked 12th. Mongols, who are ranked 4th and have made every playoffs this year, as of Eternal Fire. Virtus Pro, again, ranked 15th. Obviously, the Imperial, yeah, we won that. And then Saw, who, yeah, currently not ranked that high, actually. They're ranked 16th, so right behind Virtus Pro. I think Virtus Pro are undervalued, actually, in that ranking. I think they should be slightly higher. They're probably not top 10, but they're close to. Like, we've played 5 teams, these 5 teams here, 4 teams, won twice, that are all sort of either deep in the top 10 or very much on the outskirts fighting for the top 10. We've never, I think this is the only match I remember us getting completely blown out on. Like, I think we didn't get a single CT round on this map. We got 6 T rounds and then we didn't get a single CT round. Like, this map we got blown out of completely. I recall that one pretty well. Yeah, this map we got blown out pretty quickly. Actually, we were 6-2 up, and then we kind of just fell apart. And then I think the Liquid Inferno was kind of the same, where, yeah, our CT side just didn't get going. But aside from those games, I mean, the Mongols, they just fucking shot the shit out of us. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to do against those guys. They just fucking killed us. Like this game we should have won. This game we definitely should have won. Like this was a disaster. Um, yeah, from 8-2 to 10-8, and then yeah, we definitely should have won this game. Like Woxic just had. I don't want to say he had a life game. Like Woxic's a great player, but like Woxic had like three 1v3s or something that he won on this T side. Like we just got super unlucky in this game. I think also first LAN game that Nix and Sixty have really played in a high stakes tier one LAN event. Like we brought in two rookies who were playing ESCA Advanced last year in two different seasons. So I think that from where we started, I think we're not far off sort of competing with top 15 teams. Like I think that a VP 6-0 up against FaZe right now. I mean, there you go. Like VP are not a bad team. The Mongols are really good. Eternal Fire are really good. Liquid are really good. Like we're not losing to bad teams. I mean, aside from like this capitulation, like this was rough, obviously. Going from 9-2, 11-3, and then like this was a complete capitulation. Um, and then yeah, we lost our mental completely on the second map. But like Saw are clearly a good team as well. They also had the dead team buff. When the team is dead, they don't care and they play with crazy confidence. But I mean, even with their new players, what was it? What event did they play? What event was it they just played? Yeah, Pro League. Like even with their new players at Pro League, beating Furia, beating Heroic, beating M80, beating Navi. Like Saw are not a bad team either. Like these are good teams we're playing against. Like, I think we should be beating or should be competing against Saw. I think we should be competing against the Virtus Pros, potentially the Liquids of the world in that kind of top 15 range. But the only way we can get back there is by playing teams of similar quality or slightly below that. And, if we look at the teams that are likely going to be invited to this qualifier, these teams are almost certainly not playing the qualifier. I think, well, we know, right? We know that on the 3rd of March, the last invited team to the main event was MIBR, right? So this is the last invited team. So these are the teams that can play this qualifier, basically. So obviously Saw can play. Wildcard are not playing. I know that FlyQuest are not playing. So then you've got kind of these kind of teams here. I don't think Imperial will play because they're probably playing the Astana qualifier in SA. Same would be for any other. So Energy are playing the Astana qualifier in NA. So like if we're playing these teams instead of kind of these teams, I feel like that's a bit of a different proposal, if you ask me. But I appreciate the question. I think we had a pretty tough run to start the season, so it's it's not easy. But I think that if you put us against teams that are sort of more in our zone for where we're at right now, I think we'll be fine. And I think it seems like that's all the questions. Where's Jake? Does that mean where's Jason Lake? I don't know what that means. Have I kept up with the advanced playoffs at all? No, but we can look at it. I actually haven't looked at it at all. I guess it's in here, right? Events ongoing. Here we go. I saw some of the teams that qualified already. Okay, so this is the Mexican team, right? That beat Nouns in the Bucharest qualifier. No, Master. These guys, right? But they lost. I'm going to be honest. I don't know most of these teams. I know Might, who's on Wanted Goons. I don't know them. Yeah, I know these guys. So these guys didn't get a spot, right? No. Okay. But from memory, these teams they get two chances of going to Challenger League, right? It was two teams that go to Challenger League, I think. ECL North America. Next season of this one is 50. Yeah, so there's two teams that can go through. So they get two opportunities. There's a second season of ESEA Advanced that um, goes through to the next season of ECL, which technically we may play. The ECL, like it's VRS invited from next season, so there is a potential opportunity for us to play. Again, I'm making an assumption here that we're top 8 in North America come July, which I'll make that assumption now. I'm pretty confident we'll be there. So we may play ECL next season. It is one of the only ways we can get to Pro League. The other way is via an open qualifier. This one here. No, wait. This one. Sorry. This is for next year's Pro League. This is for season 23. For season 22, there is obviously that's from this season of ECL, but there is a North American qualifier. This one here, which take place pretty much around about the same time. Actually, it's early July. So yeah, otherwise we'll have to play this. We do want to play Pro League again. We like Pro League. Pro League has been an event that Complexity's been part of for many years, especially back in the old North American days. So we do want to play Pro League. So yeah, we'll have to obviously play this. Oh God, this is a huge qualifier again. Jesus, how many teams? That's 2016 plus 20 team qualifier. Damn, that's a big qualifier for. I mean, I know the PGL qualifiers are 32 team close qualifiers, but still, that's a pretty big qualifier. So yeah, hoping that we'll qualify for the next Pro League, and then we may also play the ECL at the same time. Okay, I'm just going to put this up there now. Graham, all you can say right now is that Complexity has gotten more rounds on Dust 2 than FaZe against VP. I'm not watching the game, so I don't know what the score is. I heard it was 6-0. What is it now? It's 10-0. Wow. Okay, yeah. So again, Virtus Pro beating up on our ex Liege over in FaZe. Well, this is the third map as well. Wow. Okay, yeah. So clearly, Virtus Pro are not that bad, and losing to them is not in any way a negative thing. Obviously, it's negative, but it's not like a huge like alarm bells ringing kind of thing. So I think I don't feel too bad losing to Virtus Pro with a brand new team with two rookies when like we are competing to some extent against teams with significantly higher budgets and talent pools. The Russian talent pool is crazy right now. Like being able to just grab Flameless and Icy as two replacements is a benefit that I think most North American teams would would never even dream of. So I think we just have to accept that we're on the way up. We've taken a bit of a reset, and we're going to come back once we get some more practice in and how do you say play a bit more. I think it's I think as you just said, Thugs Bunny, I think it's promising, and that's all we could have really hoped for given the situation. I think that our results were in no way a concern in terms of we didn't go to Katowice and Cluj and just get like completely stomped and destroyed and look like we didn't deserve to be there. We were competitive, and yeah, we got lucky, I guess you could say, in terms of we played Imperial Valkyries in the 0-2 game instead of either Soar or FlyQuest. Obviously, we ended up losing to Soar in the next round, so you could say that we could have easily gone 0-3 had we played Soar in the 0-2 game and FlyQuest played Imperial. That could have easily happened. But I think our performances against VP, against the Mongols, against Liquid, against Eternal Fire show that we're not far off being competitive, but we need that extra bit of experience and that extra bit of firepower, brain, whatever you want to call it, just to get us over the line. And we don't have that against a team like BP, who have guys like Electronic, Fame, Flit, major winner, major winner, major winner. It's not easy. These guys are just insane across the board. Liquid with major winner, super sick, probably one of the best North American players of all time, best Oceanic Asian player of all time, fucking lunatic Orpa, who just is everywhere you don't want him to be all the time. Like, these are really good players. Eternal Fire, again, like, there's not really a weak spot in many of these rosters. Eternal Fire have the best 5 Turkish players really they could get. The Mongols are the same, like two hugely successful national teams, like being able to pick the best players from their region. They may not have a super strong region overall, but they're certainly able to pick some really good players. And Virtus Pro are kind of the same. Being able to pick from a really good talent pool. I mean, when you think that there's 5 players on Team Spirit and you can still assemble this roster, um, it's it's a luxury I think North America wishes it had. But we'll get there. I think that's something that is a long term recovery that is hopefully underway. I think I mentioned it last week that I think North America is in one of the weakest spots it's been in right now. But at the same time, I also think that there's a lot of like closely knit competitive teams that can sort of all go against each other and take wins off each other. And I think that might hopefully breed sort of the next generation of decent top players that can go and sort of make that jump to international competition. Obviously, Wildcard are technically missing here as well. They don't have 3 North American players, so they don't show up on this list. But I think that even though the overall level is lower, I think that the added competition and sort of you know the the gauntlet thrown down to all these teams to try and qualify for events and compete against each other, and I think that will be a huge benefit. I think once the Prize Picks Cups come back, obviously that's something we are directly involved in, along with Mythic and Flom and those guys. The Prize Picks events. I think the first one is it already on here? I don't know if it's on here. Uh, oh, there, this is it, right? 5? No, is it 6 then? Maybe it might not be on here yet. No, it's not on here yet. We can go find it. Um, 6 must be this one. Yeah, 6. Here we go. So it's third and 4th of May. There you go. 3rd and 4th of May this year. First Prize Picks. Obviously, we cannot play this, so this is not a way that we can increase our points. This is purely, essentially, to boost up the other teams that we're competing against and give them prize money and give them matches to play against each other. Like, this is in no way beneficial to me as the team manager for Complexity, but long term vision here, the better that North America becomes as a whole. In theory, the easier my job becomes because the talent pool is bigger. Complexity has options of, hopefully playing against these teams as well and building ourselves up. Having a stronger domestic scene means we're going to be better domestically. Hopefully, we can then be better internationally. So, it's more of a long-term vision with this one to try and build up the ecosystem and build up the quality of the teams, but obviously not a direct benefit to Complexity Counter-Strike team itself, but hopefully a long-term investment for the ecosystem. And I know it's something that's very near and dear to Jason's heart to be supporting North American Counter Strike in any way possible. So this is, perhaps I should be upset with Jason for running this, but at the same time, it's a good thing for the ecosystem, and there is potential benefits for the team that Complexity has, as well as obviously the organization and everyone else. So I don't feel bad for it, but it would be nice to play some of these events because getting lots of matches against your opponents, being able to win some points would be nice. But it's not something that we have to. When do the invites go out for this? I would assume these are on the April update. I think we've announced it. Yeah, that's a very good point, and I'm not going to go through all this I'm not going to go through all this now. But yes, if a team Complexity is beat also plays the NA Revival Series and gains points, then Complexity also gains points. This is way too complex to go through now, but essentially, the best example actually would be to show you ECL right now. Actually, let's just do it on Wikipedia. So ECL right now has played lots of matches. All these matches have been played, and they exist, but none of these matches that are currently played are valuable for the VRS right now because the tournament hasn't ended. So there's going to be a very weird update when this ends in May. So this will only come into account for the June update for the VRS. But yeah, randomly in the middle of May, there's going to be like a points bomb where all of these matches get added to the ranking, and what that will do is if you go to, for example, like so this will be hypothetical because it won't work perfectly, but the ranking essentially gets uh, calculated in order of matches. So all of a sudden, like imagine ECL had been going on during all these matches, and we'd been going to like LAN events, playing ECL, LAN events, playing ECL, or like other teams have been doing that. All of a sudden, like where these matches are missing, they'll just suddenly bang, a match will appear. And then these head to head ELO adjustments will get readjusted because there'll be more matches, the teams will have more data. Then potentially these values in Bounty Collected and Opponent Network could become more valuable. For example, like we played Blue Jays the in the Bucharest qualifier. Well, Blue Jays are the most valuable team in ECL right now, but none of this value is accounted for when we beat them in the qualifier. But when ECL finishes and it gets added to the qualifier, they'll recalculate all the matches in order, and then the match we played against Blue Jays will be more valuable logically because they're 16-4 than it was when we actually played them because they'll have the added value from ECL added in. The downside to all of this is that by the time it gets added in May, any matches from January will be 4 months decayed almost, or 3 months decayed, I suppose, technically, right? And from Finn, there's a month grace period, right? So there'll be 3 months decayed potentially almost by the time they even get added, which is disappointing for them. And I think the ECL format will get changed going into next year because I just don't see how they can run this kind of league and have it only take effect after what is almost 4 months. So I think they'll change the format for ECL next year and make it more of like a shorter period of multiple stages, perhaps, or do something else. Because right now ECL is almost not worthless because obviously you can qualify for Pro League and that's really valuable, and 25K very valuable, but so much of this value is lost because the event is so long. So yeah, I think ECL will change, but yeah, ECL is going to be like a points bomb in all regions, obviously, because there's European ECL, which is kind of the same in a sense that all these matches have been played, and all these matches have been played, and all these matches have been played, and these matches will get played. Holy crap, the ECL format in Europe is crazy. I've never even seen how bad it was. It's just insane. Wait, do they do like triple eliminate? Like what? I don't even understand this format. So they go to playoffs. They go to playoffs upper bracket. Okay, so they go to this bracket. They go to what the hell? I Okay, I see. So they go to lower bracket. They go to lower bracket. There. Who else goes to the lower bracket? These two. These guys go to playoffs. wait, wait. So these guys go to the upper bracket. Wait, but there's four upper bracket. Oh, I see. They go to the upper bracket semifinals. That's misleading. These guys go to the upper bracket semifinals, right? If they win, or do they all go to the upper bracket? All four teams. Who takes this slot? Like, there's two teams that get seeded into the upper bracket semifinals. It must be the winners, right? The winners must get seeded to the upper. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, so they drop down. So there's 8 teams go to playoffs for sure. Then there's 10 teams go to playoffs. High group, mid group. Is there a low group? No, I guess this is the low group, right? So there's 4 teams there, 4 teams there. So that is the 10 teams. So logically, the winners of these two matches go through to these two slots. The losers of these two matches and the winners of these two matches go into these slots. And the losers of these matches and these matches go into these slots. That must be it, right? Saw, Nemiga, Jeff, or Martin. Someone needs to fix Wikipedia. Yeah. Um, that's unfortunate. Wait, there is a low group. In season 48, there is a low group, but it's not here in season 40. I don't know. I don't understand the EU Challenger League format. I've never played Challenger League ever in my life in any team. So I, I truly don't understand the Challenger League format. I, I assume that's how it works. But I don't understand why. Wait, hold on. Maybe season 47 was the same format. Yeah, season 47 is working. Okay, cool. So Koi and Sinners logically are these two teams, and they are cool. Then Rush B, 3D Max, Aurora, and Saw. Yeah, cool. So then Nine Pandas, Paravision, Monty, and Sangol. Wait, what the fuck are these teams doing then? Is this just to requalify? Because these guys don't go to playoffs. Is this just to requalify for ECL next season? Yeah, it's literally to requalify for ECL. Team Space and Para. It's these two teams, right? Team Space and Para requalified, and System 5 didn't. Yeah, so it's literally just to requalify. That's what the lower league is for. And obviously, the lower league is not needed in the current ecosystem because of the transition from season 49 to season 50 means that VRS is taking over, and these are all VRS invites now, so there's no need for the lower group. That makes a lot more sense. Wow, that is complicated. But it's all good now. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Hat tip is not what I typed. I typed HLTV, I swear. Whoa. I did not expect that. After two overtime games, Danny, we're better than FaZe, bro. I mean, that's just damn. How did we play against them? Twice, right? And us two? Yeah, we did. I think we could have won this game, just for the record. I think at this point, 10-8, I think we were winning this game, and then we just capitulated a bit. I think we definitely could have won this game. You can tell it's a really rough game because the most AWP kills on any player was 4, and it's Dust 2. That's really tough. Second game, we didn't do quite so well. Yeah, our T side again. Actually, yeah, T side was 5. Yeah, T side really struggled this time. But still better than this. Right, I've been going for nearly an hour and 40 minutes now. So I think I'm going to let everyone head off and call it here for today. Um, I promise, promise. Next week, we're going to have a structure. I'm going to announce a topic list, a list of things to talk about before this starts. I'm going to be more prepared. I'm not going to fall asleep with my son trying to put him to sleep a minute before I have to go live on this. I'm going to make sure my camera's working. I'm going to figure out what on earth is going on with my microphone that's making it. I don't know what it was. It was the noise adjustment, noise suppression, whatever it was. We're going to make sure that's fixed going into next week. And we're going to test it properly. I did test everything earlier, made sure it all works, made sure the lights was on, make sure everything was working. And then showtime, everything didn't work. But we're going to make sure that all happens and come back next week with a nice topic list. And what's going to happen next week? Is there anything significant for us happening between next week? No. Right now, like the next week for Complexity Counter Strike is we've got the where is it? I mean, hold on. Community game night with 60 and Nix, 6 p.m. Central Time. You can play on the Faceit. Where is it? The Faceit. Is it a club? Is it a clan? Is it a hub? I can't remember what it is even called anymore. It's called a club. I'm gonna put the horrible link into the chat, which I don't even know if that goes out to Twitch. I guess it does. But that's the horrible link in the chat. There is a better link. I know Scott or Andrew will have the fancy cole.gg link or whatever it is, but that's the link. You can join there if you're North American. There obviously is some restrictions on who counts as North American. I don't remember what exactly the rules are, but I know if you're from the USA, Canada, Mexico, and it looks like maybe some Caribbean islands have been added since then. Jamaica, BB, I'm guessing that's Barbados, DO, Dominican Republic, and AG. I don't know what AG is. Antigua, I guess. So the Caribbean islands have been added now. I know that was something that was brought up earlier today. Um, then you can go and play in that. Anyone is welcome. What Danny and Nick will be doing is launching up a lobby publicly in the clan. Anyone can join their lobbies. They will be streaming the matches. You can join, play the matches. You will gain elo, but it will probably just be like +1 plus the -1 elo. But you earn points towards the leaderboards. Double points if you play. If you play that night, you don't have to be in a lobby with Nix or Sixy to get the double points. But obviously, you can play with them and be in their lobby. Give yourselves a carry. I believe there's a Lenovo Legion gaming monitor for first place and some vouchers for the shop and some other prizes for second and third. I can't remember exactly what they all are, but they're all on the what was it? Do we call it a clan or a club? We called it a club. So head over to the club, look in there. There's a chat. You can find new players to play with. You can play on other days as well. You don't just have to play on the community game night, but that's obviously a better way to earn points if you play on that night, and you get the opportunity to play with our lovely pro players. And then, other than that, make sure you head over to what is it? Shop.cole.gg. You can get nice well, but like this one, and obviously the player jerseys as well. Um, and I think that's about it. I think I'm going to cut it there. I don't have anything else to say. I've been live for an hour and 52 minutes, which is obscene for one person to be sitting talking to a camera and a screen. So I don't know how the talent do it. Honestly, I think I've said "but" about 20 bajillion times today. So I'm going to work on cutting those out a little bit. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week for a more structured show and maybe a guest if I can think of someone who makes sense and is interested and can put up with me for an hour or so. So yeah, see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in, and yeah, if you have any more questions that I haven't answered, head over to the Complexity Discord. I'm always in the CS chat. If I'm not if I'm not in the CS chat, I'm probably asleep. Otherwise, people have posted the general chat sometimes asking Counter Strike questions. Just head over to the CS chat because I'm always in there. I don't really look at many of the other chats that often, unless Rocket League are playing, in which case I head over to the Rocket League chat sometimes. So yeah, head over there, ask questions. I'm always available, pretty much interacting with everyone and answering questions anyway. So it's not like this is a crazy thing for me to be answering questions because I'm always there anyway. Um, and yeah, see you guys next week. Have a great week. Yeah, there is a Complexity Discord. I don't. Do we have a short link for the Complexity Discord? Is it like discord.gg/complexity, or is we? I don't know if we have one. Let's see. We do. It is indeed discord.gg/complexity or call.vg/discord. We'll get you into the Complexity Discord. I'm always in the CS chat talking CS with everyone else. But if you're interested in any of the other games or just Complexity in general, you can head over there and we'll be there. We'll answer your questions. So yeah, cool. See you guys. See you guys next week. Thank you very much.